7. Not fun, not fun, not fun if you're a Knicks fan because it was a tough one. It was a great season. You got to give them credit. They really fought till the very last game, at least that the Knicks played. I'm not going to lie. I did think that they were going to take Game 7. I thought they were going to be the ones to go face the Boston Celtics tomorrow night. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. The injuries really caught up to them. I mean, let's face it. Once Julius Randle went down and Jalen Brunson was asked to take that much of the offensive load, other guys such as Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, they had to take other step forwards on the offensive end as well that they've never taken before. And they did great. They did great stepping up. You got to give them credit, like I said. But at the same time, they've never done it. And the long haul, it just got to them. Injuries got to the Knicks. That's the best way to put it. I mean, Josh Hart going out there in Game 7 with a hurt abdomen. He hurt it in Game 6. Brunson, obviously, with the foot injury earlier on in the series. And then the broken hand in the second half of Game 7. And then OG Anunoby injuries all season long, really, for him. I mean, the elbow injury, and then he comes back from that. He was great once he comes back, and then obviously going down with the hamstring injury, playing about the first 3 minutes, and that's it in Game 7. So we missed OG, and we're going to be talking a lot about OG soon, but the Knicks, man, did they fall short of expectations by losing Game 7? Because at the end of the day, they are the better team. They had it in front of them. They had a chance to go to the game. To go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they would have gotten smoked, especially if Brunson had a broken hand. And then Josh Hart probably would have needed to take in some rest, at least in the beginning of that series against the Celtics. So, I'm not too pissed off that the Knicks lost. I know there's some that, look at this Knicks team and say, hey, even with the injuries that they sustained, they should have been able to overcome the Pacers. The Pacers aren't that good. I get it. Like, they're young. They shouldn't be where they're at. We were the 2 seed. They were the 6 seed. So, the 7 seed. So we should have won on paper, obviously, but the injuries got to us, man. The injuries got to us. But Jalen Brunson, altogether, I just want to go over this postseason. I think Brunson, he is going to be in the consideration for postseason MVP. I think it's going to be Anthony Edwards that ultimately gets it. But Jalen Brunson, he's going to be up there. 32.4 points per game, 7.5 assists, 40% from the field, 30% from 3. So Brunson, got to give him credit, man. He really stepped up. And, the Knicks are going to be back in the playoffs next season. And as long as Brunson is around, the Knicks will be fine. And next season, the Knicks luckily get back Julius Randle. Shams did report earlier today that teams will probably try to get Julius Randle away from the Knicks via trade if the Knicks don't give him an extension. But the Knicks, they should keep Julius Randle, and they should not give him an extension. After next season, let's see what he does. Obviously, when the time comes for that, yeah. And then Brunson as well, he's going to probably need an extension next year too. He has a player opt-out, I believe. So, yeah, Randle and Brunson, we're going to pay him, but not just yet. And I don't think the Knicks should trade Randle. Maybe listen to offers, but I don't think anything is really worth it for Randle, because when you look at this team, when Julius Randle is healthy, when Jalen Brunson's healthy, when OG Anunoby is healthy, and we're going to get into Anunoby in a little bit too, because he's going to be a free agent. He's opting out, obviously. After what he did for the Knicks. They're going to need really nobody. They're just going to need to get healthy. I think they need to re-sign OG Anunoby. If they can re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein, that'd be awesome too. And I think that's really the two keys. I don't think that the Knicks really need to star hunt. Jalen Brunson, you see it right here. He is the superstar. He's the superstar. And Julius Randle, he's an all-star. He's a 2-time All-NBA power forward. He probably would have been a 3-time All-NBA power forward if he didn't get hurt this year. And you got to think, if Julius Randle didn't get hurt this year, that's really, I think, the biggest blow. We're talking Jalen Brunson's foot injury. We're talking OG Anunoby's hamstring. We're talking Josh Hart with the abdomen. Dante DiVincenzo obviously had to play 30-plus minutes a night every single night, sometimes even 40 a night in the playoffs which is something he really never did in his entire career. And we're going to get into Devo too, because I think Devo can become a star going forward for the Knicks heading into next season over an offseason. I really think Devo can take that next step. But Randle, I think if we had Randle, we win this series in like 5 or 6 games. And then we would be a very good matchup against the Boston Celtics with Julius Randle. So I really think the offseason key for the Knicks is run it back. Run it back and get healthy. I think that's the best way to do it. Josh Hart, he's a beast. Get him off the bench. The role that he was in, he wasn't supposed to be in. Like a lot of the guys that were in the current roles that they were in that playoff series against the Pacers, they should not have been in that role. Did they do good? Did they fill in great? Yes, but they shouldn't have been in that role. Now, the one guy that I say should have been in that role is Donte DiVincenzo, but at the same time, I don't think Devo was ready for it just yet. I think body-wise, durability-wise, yes, he went off in Game 7, 38 points, but at the same time, a lot of them were garbage time points when the Knicks, just were giving him the ball. But listen, he can score. When he has the ball in his hands, the ball can go in the bucket. He's a dangerous scorer. So I want to see Devo get more opportunities next season, and I think he will. But like Josh Hart, he shouldn't have been in that position. We shouldn't have had Deuce McBride in that position. Precious Achiuwa. Like all these guys were being asked to do something they were never asked to do. But like I said, they did great. Not great enough, but they did great. So next season, once Julius Randle comes back, it fixes everything. Imagine Brunson, Randle, Anunoby in the starting lineup with DiVincenzo, and then it's either Mitch or Hartenstein. I would really love it to be Hartenstein and then Mitch off the bench. I think that works perfectly, especially I think Hartenstein's a better fit with that starting lineup, and Mitch off the bench, he's a beast, man. He's a beast. I think it gives him more opportunities to score. I think it gives him more opportunities to get blocks and rebounds, all that good stuff. And it gets him a good opportunity to play without Randle too. So I want to see Mitch off the bench. I want to see Hartenstein in the starting lineup. I just really want to see this team run it back. Because with Anunoby, they're 26-6, including the postseason. And that 6th loss really was kind of BS because he played, 2-3 minutes. So I really do think that the Knicks should run it back. Do you guys think that is enough to get the Knicks to the finals, though? Because realistically, we got to get more. Do we? I think we do got to get more. But do we have to get more stars? I don't think we need another star. Now, with Donovan Mitchell, maybe on the trade block, his name is going to pop around. Paul George, his name is going to pop around. Joel Embiid, I've heard that rumor already. I don't want a star. I don't think this team needs a star. Because with Brunson, Anunoby, and Randle, I think that might be good enough. With Anunoby right there, 26-6, you see it. And then DiVincenzo, I think he can be a starting shooting guard. I think he can be a star. I think he can be a guy that he did average over 15 a game. He averaged over 15 a game this season. When he became a starter, it was 19 plus. I think it might have been over 20 plus. I'm not sure off the top of my head right now. But DiVincenzo in the postseason, he scored 17.8 points per game, 43% from the three. He was the 3rd best 3-point shooter all year behind, I think it was Steph Curry and Luka Doncic. So shout out to Devo, man. He really took a step forward when he was asked to. And I think he can take an even bigger step forward going into next season. So I think when you have a starting lineup of at full strength, the Knicks starting lineup can compete with any other starting lineup in the league. And it might be a hot take, but I don't know. Is it a hot take really? Because what they did, in the month of January, when they did have Randle, Brunson, and Anunoby, they were unbeatable. What they lose 2 games with them? They were that good. And they're a perfect fit. The guys off the bench, Josh Hart coming off the bench was perfect. Deuce McBride coming off the bench was perfect. Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench would be perfect. This would be good. Do we need to re-sign Bogdanovich? I don't really think so. I don't really care about re-signing Bogdanovich. Bring me back Hartenstein and bring me back OG Anunoby. Because I think a starting lineup of Brunson, Donte DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein, and then you got Josh Hart, Miles McBride, Mitchell Robinson come off the bench. That 8-man rotation in the playoffs would be lethal. Now, yes, you got to get some more behind that just in case injuries happen, because we all know after this season, injuries very well could happen and they could derail the season. Because I think if the Knicks if they were fully healthy, like even Bob Myers on ESPN said it, former GM of the Warriors, Knicks are at full strength, they win that game. They win that game. But they were not. Simply were not. But if they run it back and they're healthy, they add some more depth. I think that's the key. Get depth. Get depth. Now, there was one guy who kind of lighted up my eyes when I saw that he was a free agent. I totally forgot that he was a free agent after we traded him. Is Emmanuel Quickly, but at the same time, we wouldn't be able to afford him if we bring back OG Anunoby and Isaiah Hartenstein. So, but if we do miss out on like either one of those two guys, you know what? Why not try to bring in Emmanuel Quickly? Which is probably going to get like 20 plus mil a year. Off the bench, I think Quickly could be great. And you see him tweeting all the time, defending the Knicks on social media. And he's still got a good relationship with a lot of the guys. So he's one guy who I think if any former Knicks ever does return, I think Quickly could be that guy. And he's a great fit with Thibodeau. I mean, he plays perimeter defense very well. He's a great three-point shooter. So if the Knicks do miss out on Anunoby or Isaiah Hartenstein, I think a surprise name that the Knicks fans should keep in mind is actually Emmanuel Quickly, because it's not like he's RJ Barrett. It's not like he's Obi Toppin. Tibbs liked that kid. He was a good fit with the Knicks. He would be a great sixth man off the bench. If they got him, he would no doubt about it be in the postseason rotation. So Quickly, I think, is a name that the Knicks fans should keep an eye on if they miss out on OG Anunoby or Isaiah Hartenstein, which I don't think they will. I mean, you saw Josh Hart at the end of the postgame, at the end of one of his postgame interviews, as they were walking out of the locker room. He's like, "We need those two guys back." I'm paraphrasing right now, but he basically said that, like, those two guys need to come back. And it's simple, because with Anunoby, with Randle, with Brunson, this team is arguably one of the best, not just in the Eastern Conference, but in the NBA. So Jalen Brunson proved this season he is a superstar. I think Dante DiVincenzo proved that he can be a star. I think Julius Randle proved that he is that valuable. He is that much of a factor. We miss him that much, because with Julius Randle, this team would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals, no doubt about it. And Josh Hart proved that contract that he got this offseason was very well worth it. So you got to give a lot of credit to the whole entire Knicks team this year. And one guy that I did not mention just yet is Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau, he's not going to win Coach of the Year, but goddamn, what he did with this team, with the injuries they got, the adjustments that he actually did make. I mean, starting Deuce McBride against the Pacers over Precious Achiuwa right there. I believe it was Al Cintron from WFAN and Morning Brew talking about it on WFAN today. Shout out to him, dude. He's doing a great job right now. But he mentioned it even too, like Thibodeau making the adjustments against the Pacers. Like, he did everything that he could. It took a historic shooting performance. And the Knicks actually, like, you could say, yeah, the Knicks let up that great shooting performance, but at the same time, the Knicks played good defense. Even in game 6, they played good defense to a extent. Like, they were just dead. Like, that's really all it was. They were just dead. They had nobody. You put what? Shake Milton out there? No, you can't put Shake Milton out there. Shake Milton would get killed. So no, you cannot. Like, you can't put some of the guys that they did have on the bottom of their roster in that game at any point. You just can't. So Tibbs, he had to play the guys he had. He had to. Precious Achiuwa was one of the guys. He didn't probably want to play him, but he had to. And Precious Achiuwa stepped up to it. Got to give him credit. But Thibodeau made adjustments. He did what he had to do to get this series to a Game 7. I mean, They won 3 wins. They got 3 wins in this series. They got 7 postseason wins altogether. So, I mean, and that's without Julius Randle. That's with Jalen Brunson with a hurt foot. That's without OG Anunoby for the majority of the postseason. That's without Mitchell Robinson, because remember, after Joel Embiid basically took him out of the postseason, we have Mitchell Robinson this series. It's a different game too. So I think the key this offseason for the Knicks is simple. Get OG back, get Hartenstein back, and run it back. Because with Julius Randle, I mean, Jalen Brunson, you think he was good in this postseason? Just imagine with Julius Randle. We all know the attention that Julius Randle requires. When you're the opposing defense, they have to throw everything that they can to stop Julius Randle. When Julius Randle sucks, it's because he's getting double or triple teamed. And are you going to be able to double team Julius Randle when you got Jalen Brunson on the court at the same time? And now that Devo is one of the best 3-point shooters in the game, are you like realistically, when you have Randle, Brunson, Devo, OG, and Hartenstein, even Josh Hart, like I think that would be the closing lineup in a tight game. It would be Randle at the center, OG at the 4, or really Josh Hart and OG kind of 3-4 splitting that time. You know, and then you got Devo and Brunson. Like we saw Tibbs like to get small this year. Tibbs actually played a small 5 at points this year. It partially was because he kind of had to. A lot of the guys were limited. But I think next season, like imagine that lineup. Randle, Hart, OG, Devo, Brunson. Randle and Brunson would go off with that lineup. They would go off. So I think, a lot of people are excited about the big names that are going to be linked to the Knicks this offseason. I mean, like I said before, Donovan Mitchell is going to probably get traded. Joel Embiid, there's going to be rumors about him. I don't think he's going to go anywhere, but there's going to be rumors. Paul George, he's going to be a free agent. He's probably going to sign with a new team. There's a lot of guys a lot of stars that might be with a new team. I mean, Damian Lillard, who knows? Giannis, who knows? There's a lot of guys, a lot of rumors, who knows? But I hope those are just rumors on the Knicks end, because we all know that the Knicks are going to be linked to stars. But I think the most important thing for the Knicks is get OG back and get Hartenstein back. It's that simple. They're too good with Anunoby. 26-6 with the postseason. So, how we doing, Yuki? What's up, man? What do you think, man? Were you upset with that Knicks loss? I'm going to be getting into the Mets actually in like 2 seconds, probably. Not 2 seconds, but a few minutes. A lot of stuff I want to talk about with the Mets because the Mets are upsetting me lately. Woo! All right, but yeah, I'm gonna get back into these Knicks for just a few more minutes, and then we're gonna get in some Mets and Yankees. Mets doing well, Yankees doing not. Rangers are still kicking ass. Speaking of Rangers, probably gonna have Frankie come on at some point so we could talk some Rangers, because I'm not a hockey fact-fatician, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you my prediction is going to be the greatest prediction, but the Rangers have been playing very well. And they, quite frankly, own the Garden. They own the Garden now. It is no longer Knicks and Rangers splitting the Garden. It's the Rangers. And going against the Panthers, I think they're going to be favored. They got home ice advantage, but it's kind of like, I mean, I'm not used to seeing New York teams do well. I'm just not. So I think the Panthers are going to come out on top. But then again, that's just me seeing the Mets, the Knicks, the Jets, even the other teams that I don't like the Yankees. When was the last time they won? 2009. I mean, the Giants, when was the last time they won? 2008, 2012, actually. But even still, that's over a decade ago now. So I'm not used to seeing my teams win. And then just yesterday, the Knicks, Game 7, one more win. They get to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000. And they couldn't do it, man, and it hurts. So that's why I'm kind of nervous and thinking that the Panthers can overcome the Rangers. But at the same time, the Rangers playing at the Garden after the comeback when everybody thought they were out against the Hurricanes. Like Kreider going out there, getting a third period hat trick after playing over a decade with the team. You can never count the Rangers out. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the Rangers get to the Stanley Cup Finals. But at the same time, for some reason, like I said, I just can't see New York sports teams winning anything. Like even the Mets in 2015, like they win the NLCS and they get to the World Series. And it felt like in the World Series that even that whole entire series against Kansas City Royals, they'd lead almost every single game, but errors got to them. Lucas Duda throwing the ball over the catcher's head at Travis d'Arnaud at the time. Daniel Murphy, the errors he had, it was so frustrating, that 2015 World Series. And speaking of frustrated Mets, we're going to talk about those Mets. And one of the first guys I do want to talk about the Mets is Edwin Diaz. I got Lindor headline in this, and I'm going to get into Lindor because I'm starting to get worried about Lindor. His batting average is down to 197, but I'm really, really worried about Edwin Diaz, man. Edwin Diaz now, first off, Mets 21-25, 30 in the NL East. That's not good. I don't think this team is making the playoffs right now. I think we're going to be trading a lot of guys, and we're going to get into that soon. But Edwin Diaz, he's going to be stepping out of the closer role for a little bit. He's got 3 blown saves already, 18 innings, 27 Ks, 5.5 ERA. He's just not doing good. You cannot defend Edwin Diaz right now. You cannot. Can you say that he will bounce back? Yes. That's an easy statement, though. Edwin Diaz is going to be one of the best relievers, one of the best closers in baseball again. But right now, he's not. So you cannot defend him. You cannot. He sucks. We need him. 3 blown saves. I mean, that's a big difference right there. 3 blown saves. Mets are 24 and what? 24 and 22. We have a winning record. So if Edwin Diaz doesn't blow his saves, we have a winning record. So at the end of the day, you can criticize Lindor like I'm going to. You can criticize Alonso like I'm going to. You can criticize Jeff McNeil like I'm going to. But a lot of Mets fans are being very soft on not on Francisco Lindor. Mets fans are being hard on Francisco Lindor. Mets fans are also being hard on Pete Alonso. And I'm going to be hard on those guys too. But a lot of Mets fans are being soft on Edwin Diaz. Like I said before, he is going to bounce back. And to say that is an easy statement. But right now, he deserves a lot of the blame. Because he is capable of not only being one of the best relievers in baseball, one of the best closers in baseball, he's capable of being one of the best closers in baseball. He's capable of being the best closer in baseball, not just one of the best. The best closer. That's who he is. That's who he was. That's who he can be. So those 3 blown saves, they've cost the Mets a winning record. 24 and 22 is what the Mets would be if Edwin Diaz didn't blow those saves. So quite frankly, A lot of Mets fans are shocked. Hey, give him another opportunity in the closing role before you just take him out of there. No, because we're 24 and 22 without those blown safes. So who do you put in there? A guy who's been dominating all season. The WBC strikes again. Yes. I would rather see Michelle Monaghan Spectrum commercials than see Edwin Diaz pitch. Yeah, I mean, and the crazy part is we've seen this Edwin Diaz before. We've seen Edwin Diaz struggle before. So it could be a long season for Edwin Diaz, or he could bounce back. I think he'll bounce back based off what he's done. He's had more good than bad here. He's had bad, very bad, but he's bounced back from that bad. So I 100% I expect Edwin Diaz to bounce back, but right now I do not have any faith in Edwin Diaz. So he has to earn a lot of people's trust back. Looks like he has to earn Yuki's trust back too. He wants to watch Spectrum commercials rather than Edwin Diaz right now, and I can't blame him. But one guy who I would rather see in the game than Edwin Diaz, and we saw it last night, Reed Garrett, man. 0.72 ERA, 41 strikeouts, over 25 innings, man. This guy is putting up 2022 Edwin Diaz numbers right now. Edwin should drop the slider and learn the split finger. I don't know if he should drop the slider because that slider was one of his best pitches when he's in his prime. So maybe learn the split finger, add that, because his pitch arsenal is very limited. He's got the fastball, he's got another fastball, and he's got a slider. He needs more. He, quite frankly, needs to add more to his arsenal. So I don't think he needs to drop the slider. I do think, though, he needs to add to that arsenal. So I'll meet in the middle with you there, Yuki. But yeah, I do want to talk about Reed Garrett, though. Let's talk about some positive parts of this Mets bullpen. And Reed Garrett right now is not just a positive part of the Mets bullpen. He's arguably the best reliever in baseball right now. Him or the other guy in New York, Clay Holmes, who is doing a fantastic job so far. 20 appearances with the Yankees and a 0 ERA. He's let up 3 runs, but they were unearned. So shout out to Clay Holmes. We're going to be getting into him later too. But his crosstown rival has another elite relief pitcher right now, and that's Reed Garrett with a .72 ERA. 41 strikeouts across 25 innings is insane. So Diaz, like I said before, he's stepping out of the closing role, and Reed Garrett likely stepping in. We saw it last night, and I have confidence in this guy. I have a lot of confidence in Reed Garrett. Let's actually go over Reed Garrett's career numbers. Last year, Reed Garrett wasn't that good, but he was a good David Stearns pickup. And let's see. So yeah, Reed Garrett, 31 years old. Hey, he's kind of sucked. 2023, 17 innings. 5.82 ERA, 10.13 ERA in 2023 with the Orioles. But that's only across 2 games. Nationals, 7 games, 9.1 innings, 6.75 ERA. So he's sucked. Anytime he's been to the MLB, he's got sent right back down. So now he's having success. And you know what? I don't mind it. Let's build off it. Let's see what he's got and trade him at the deadline, because we're going to need to trade some people at the deadline if this is how it keeps going. So let's talk about that. One guy who might get traded at the deadline if the Mets keep sucking is Sean Manaea. And Sean Manaea had another great start, 3-1, 3.11 ERA across 9 starts to start the year. He's doing good. Christian Scott. Let's do quick Mets, because the Mets are pissing me off and the Mets play soon. So Mets, I don't like him right now. I really don't like him. But Sean Manaea is the guy who I want to have success. Even if the Mets suck, I want this guy to have success. I want Luis Severino to have success. I want Reed Garrett to have success. Pete Alonso really doesn't matter. You can still get a lot for him. And yes, I just said Pete Alonso in a trade conversation, because I'm not one of those Mets fans anymore who is saying, I want to keep Pete Alonso. You know what? Screw it. I'm done. I'm done with Pete Alonso. I'm done with Francisco Lindor. I'm done with Brandon Nimmo. I'm done with a lot of Jeff McNeil. I'm done. I am done. It's been years. Everyone's like Steve Cohen this, Steve Cohen that. It's been years since he's owned the team. And how many seasons do the Mets have? What's up, CP? How we doing, man? But it's been years. Only one winning season. I'm not even talking playoffs. I know Aunt Rivera of Subway to Shea was talking about it on the Mets Morning Brew the other week. He was like, I'm paraphrasing right now, but why is nobody even talking about that? Why is nobody talking about how Steve Cohen only has one winning season under his belt since owning the Mets? So why should we believe that this team won't just get torn apart at the trade deadline? I mean, that tweet said itself, and then it comes out, oh, well, it was meant to be a DM. So you're DMing guys now. Because I'll tell you right now, if Steve Cohen DM'd me that, I would take a screenshot and post it on Twitter. It's that simple. Like, what? Does he think we're stupid? Oh, my God. Like Keith said of Subway to Shay and Sons, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, man. So, Steve Cohen, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, man. We see what you're doing. We see your plan. It's simple. The Mets, you're going to tell us you want them to make the postseason. You expect them to make the postseason. And at the end of the year, when all the guys that I'm about to say are traded, then it's going to be, well, we didn't perform well. We got a good farm system. And it's not even going to be 2025 where you look to shoot for a World Series. It's going to be like, 2028? We're going into a rebuild, whether you like it or not, it seems like. Whether I like it or not, too. And I don't think it's going to be like a full rebuild, but it's going to be a little teeny tiny rebuild. I think it is. I think the guys that will survive the trade cuts, because that's what I'm going to call them, is the trade cuts. There's going to be a lot of trades. I think the first guy is Francisco Lindor, who we're going to be talking about Francisco Lindor in a little bit with his 197 batting average going into today. And he's dodging a lot of heat. And he's a very good player. I've said it a lot. The reason I give him a lot of heat is because he, like Edwin Diaz, like Pete Alonso, they have the capability to be the best at what they do in baseball. And right now they are being the worst at what they do in baseball. All three of them, all three of the guys that we need to perform. Edwin Diaz with his 3 blown saves. That's 3 games right there. 24 and 22 if those blown saves don't happen. Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor, if their batting average wasn't 197 and Pete Alonso is like 230 and he has like a 740 OPS, that's terrible for a guy who's supposed to hit 45 and 115. That's terrible. That's terrible. So those 3 guys right now, if they play better, the Mets are better. I think it's that simple. A few more Pete Alonso hits with runners in scoring position. Francisco Lindor, a few less strikeouts. Edwin Diaz, a couple less blown saves. And the Mets not only have above a 500 record, but maybe they're actually in the wild card race. Because it is still early. It's only May 20th. But at the same time, when you've played 46 games and you have a 197 batting average and your name is Francisco Lindor, or you're Pete Alonso and you have less than 20 RBIs, I believe. How many RBIs does Pete Alonso have? Let's see it. Got it right here. But Pete Alonso sucks. That's the moral of the story. 10 home runs. 10 home runs, 229 batting average. And then Francisco Lindor, 197 batting average, 7 home runs. Those are your 2 best guys. And then you got Edwin Diaz, 3 blown saves. So I think really, why do the Mets suck this year? Why are the Mets under 500 this year? I think it's very, 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 very simple. because the guys who are supposed to be the guys suck. Is it that hard? Like, is it Harrison Bader's fault when he's hitting 280? Is he the one who's getting paid $300 million? Is he the one who's in a contract year and wants to be a Met for life? Is he the one who is one of the best closers, if not the best closers in the last 10 years in 2022? No. Oh, Joey Wendell, wah. Oh, Jeff McNeil, wah. Brandon Nimmo, wah. Those guys aren't supposed to be the guys. Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, and Edwin Diaz, they are. We're only a few games under 500. Like I said before, Edwin Diaz, if he doesn't have those 3 blown saves, Mets are 24 and 22. If Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso provide a little bit more than what they have, the Mets have a better record. It's that simple. It's not Joey Wendell. It's not Jeff McNeil. It's not Harrison Bader. It's none of that. It's the 3 guys who are supposed to be the guys. And it's that simple. And there's still time to turn it around. There is a lot of season left. And the Mets sure of hell ain't out of the wild card hunt. Let's look at the wild card standings right now. And then we're going to be talking about the Yankees in a little bit too, obviously. But right now, the Mets are 2.5 games out of that last wild card spot. 21 and 25. 2.5 games behind the 25 and 24 Padres. Lot of season left. And I think the formula is simple. Mets want to turn things around. Then there's 3 guys who need to turn things around. And it's Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz, and Francisco Lindor. I do believe that, because this is why I do believe it. Because there's nothing that I've seen out of the Pete Alonso camp that has denied that. So that's why I do believe that. And listen, I don't want to throw shade at Pete Alonso for not taking that contract. Because why would you throw shade at him for it? He didn't think it was enough money. He didn't think that's what he's worth. He thinks he's worth more. So shout out to him for that. But now he looks like an idiot. He really does. And if he wants to be a Met for life, then something's got to happen. Something's got to change. Because, quite frankly, he's going to get traded if the Mets continue to be below 500. If, like I said before, Diaz, Lindor, and Alonso, if those guys have had better seasons than they've had so far, I'd be talking about the Mets in a very different tone. But the Mets suck. And it's because those 3 suck right now. So I do believe it, because we haven't seen anything out of Alonso's camp that denied it. And I don't discredit him for, turning that thing down. And I still think he has time to get a contract with the Mets. But at the same time, I could very well see him not. I could very well see the Mets trading him. I could very well see the Mets letting him go. And here's why. Because this guy right here, I have his autograph, Jacob deGrom. For some reason after 2022, even in 22 and after 2022, for some reason I thought there's no freaking way the Mets let Jacob deGrom walk away. And what happened? They did. They let him walk away. So, who says it can't be the same thing with Pete Alonso? So that's all I got on the Mets right now. I'm going to take a really quick break, and then I'm going to talk some Yankees after this. But yeah, the Mets. Actually, I'm going to finish up the Mets after this a little bit. I want to talk about some more trade assets for the Mets because they get a lot of it. So I'll be right back. Deuces. All right, quick break, and now we're back. So here's the thing. I want to finish up this stuff about the Mets because the Mets have a lot of tradable guys, and Tyler McGill is back. And also, speaking of young pitchers, Christian Scott let up 7 earned runs over his last 2 starts. I just wanted to put that out there. Before we start calling this guy an ace, can we cut back on it a little bit? So I heard some people saying he's going to be the next Jacob deGrom. Calm down. Listen, his first start was great. Even his second start was good. But let's not call this guy the next Jacob deGrom, please. Do we know who Jacob deGrom was? Back-to-back Cy Young Award winner. When he did go down in 2021, he had 16 starts with a 1.08 ERA or something like that. This guy's not going to be the next deGrom. No one ever will. So, can he be very good? Yes. Have I liked what I've seen out of him so far? Yes. But I can't ignore 700 runs over his last 2 starts. So, pump the brakes on the kid a little bit. Give him some breathing room. Don't give him these too high expectations because, listen, yeah, we haven't had a young pitcher come out in a while. But Mark Vientos was supposed to be good. Brett Beatty was supposed to be good. There's a lot of guys that were supposed to be good that came out of the Mets farm system. And they've been that's what they've been. So, Tyler McGill back. I mean, listen, he dominates when he's in the minor leagues. I can't ignore that. But I've said it before. When he pitches well, it's for a short period of time, and then he collapses. So let's see if he can have a consistent stretch for the first time in his career. So, I hope he can give us a good start tonight because, like I said, 2.5 games out of the wild card ain't that bad. So we can get back in this, especially if the 3 guys that are supposed to be the guys, Lindor, Alonso, Diaz, actually provide us with what they're supposed to provide. The Mets can get back in the race. Mets offense stinks. Yes, that was one of the points I wanted to put up. But yeah, a lot of tradable guys that the Mets do have. A lot of tradable guys. Pete Alonso obviously is one of those guys. If he keeps having the season he's having, if the Mets keep losing, then don't expect Pete Alonso to be on the Mets by the end of 2024. That's simple. And if they trade him, he's not coming back because I've heard, oh, well, why don't you trade him and then re-sign him in the offseason? Well, the Yankees did it with Aroldis Chapman. They were geniuses. Yeah, but also, Aroldis Chapman wasn't a career Yankee. Aroldis Chapman wasn't drafted and called up and the polar bear. Pete Alonso was supposed to be the guy, the captain, blah, 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 the next David Wright, blah, 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 all this hype, all this hoopla about Pete Alonso, all the stuff that he's accomplished in New York as a Met, being drafted as a Met, being called up as a Met, his entire career as a Met. That means something. So if the Mets trade him, he's not coming back. I'll tell you that. So if Pete Alonso does want to come back, then there's basically 2 things that need to happen because it's not even Lindor and Diaz. If they keep stinking and the Mets do good, then Alonso can still stay around. But the Mets need to turn things around. That's how Pete Alonso stays on the Mets. But he will get no contract from David Stearns if these numbers look like this at the end of the year. Home runs are probably going to be up, obviously, but if the OPS is under 800, if the batting average is below 250, and even if the Mets do make the playoffs, Pete Alonso ain't coming back, bro. He ain't. So I'm very interested to see how this season pans out for Pete Alonso. I want him to come back. I'm rooting for him. I'm a big Pete Alonso guy. I've seen what he can do. I know what he can do. A lot of Mets fans probably feel the same way. We know what he can do. In 2022, he hit like 270, 38 home runs, led the league in RBIs. Last year, over 44 home runs or something like that. I think he had 45 or 46 home runs, actually. He had another 100-plus RBI season. Pete Alonso is a beast. The batting average last year, I would love to see an increase in that area, but it is what it is. But right now, Pete Alonso is having his worst season. We're 49 games in. We're not just a month in. We're 49 games in, guys. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad, too. Francisco Lindor, 197 batting average, 273 on base percentage. That's actually pathetic. That's actually pathetic. Like, that's bad. That is bad. That is not good. How do you defend that? Francisco Lindor is a 4-time All-Star. I saw that guy win a Silver Slugger with the Mets last year. I saw that guy hit 30 plus home runs, 30 stolen bases last year. How is he hitting 197? And how can you defend that? At this point in time, if he was going to turn things around, he would have by now. We haven't seen anything. He gets right above 200. We're like, oh, yeah, Francisco Lindor might come back. And then it goes right back down to sub 200. I don't know what's going on, but Francisco Lindor, quite frankly, sucks right now. There's no other way to put it. Is he, when he's at best, one of the best, if not the best shortstop in the National League? One of the best shortstops in MLB? Yes. But right now, Francisco Lindor sucks. He sucks. So something needs to change. Because like I said in the beginning of this pod, it's not Harrison Bader. It's not Joey Wendell. It's not even Jeff McNeil. Because Jeff McNeil is probably going to be gone. Regardless, even if the Mets do win a lot of games this year, I think Jeff McNeil is still probably going to be gone, which is a good thing. It's not Nimmo. It's not Starlin Marte. It's 3 guys. Edwin Diaz, Pete Alonso, and Francisco Lindor are the reason the Mets stink right now. It's that simple. I know. I'm very happy Joey Wendell got DFA'd because, one, it kind of proves to me that David Stearns isn't afraid to just, because that's a lot of times you see a lot of GMs like Brody Van Wagen kind of stick with their guys for a while. Even Billy Epler too. I mean, Billy Epler, the big case of it, Daniel Vogelback just forcing him down our throat. God damn. So at least Stearns didn't force Wendell down our throats. And at least he knew when to cut ties with him. But at the same time, I don't think it was Joey Wendell's fault that the Mets are where they're at. Like, I don't think we should use those guys as excuses. I think the reason that the Mets stink right now is simply Lindor, Alonso, and Diaz. Because without Diaz's 3 blown saves, we're 24 and 22. And then you got to think if Lindor is better than a 197 batting average and Pete Alonso is better than a 229 batting average and a 758 OPS from Alonso is absolutely pathetic. And then a 273 on-base percentage from Lindor is absolutely pathetic too. So both these guys are pathetic right now. They're pathetic. And the only way that the Mets turn things around is if those two guys and Diaz play better. It's that simple. So should the Mets trade Pete Alonso at the deadline? Ultimately, I think if they're under 500, I think yes. I think yes. Why not? Speaking of tradable players, one thing David Stearns did do very well is sign tradable players. I think we all kind of we all see through it. We all see through it. Pete Alonso's tradable. Reed Garrett's tradable. Luis Severino's tradable. Sean Manaea is tradable. Jeff McNeil, Harrison Bader, Brooks Raley, Starlin Marte. There's probably more guys too that I left off this list. If you think of any guys too that you think the Mets could trade or should trade right now or wait till the deadline, please drop it in the comments. But yeah, I think all these guys on this list could very well be off the Mets by the end of the year. I think they're all tradable. Starlin Marte, I think, would be the hardest one because of his contract. But Pete Alonso, he'd be the easiest one. Reed Garrett would be the second easiest. Severino and Manaea, they'd be right up there. And the McNeil, he'd be, I think, there's got to be some idiot GM. I mean, there's 30 of them. There's got to be one idiot one that wants to take a chance on Jeff McNeil, right? Harrison Bader, Brooks Raley, Starlin Marte. I mean, maybe if they keep doing well, why not? Yeah, I know he's got 7 years of control, but when you look at his career numbers, this is not who Reed Garrett is. At some point, whether it's in August, whether it's in July, whether it's even next season, there's no way this is who Reed Garrett is. He's 31 years old. I get it. He has 7 years of control, but I'll pull up his numbers again. I just don't think Reed Garrett, I would bet on him to be a long-term piece. I think now this season, this is the highest trade value he's had. Because when you look at his career numbers, nothing like what he's doing right now. Right now, he's got 41 strikeouts across 25 innings. In 2023 with the Mets, 17 innings total, 5.82 ERA. He let up 11 earned runs across 17 innings. With the Orioles in 2023, 2.2 innings, 3 earned runs allowed. 2022 with the Nationals, 7 earned runs across 9.1 innings. And in 2019 with the Tigers, 15.1 innings pitched, 14 earned runs allowed, 3 home runs across that stretch. And a lot of walks too. I mean, 13 walks in 2019 across those 15 innings. So walks have been a big problem for him too. So yes, Reed Garrett this year, and he's got 7 years of control, and he's a beast this year. It's great. But at the same time, his track record doesn't say he's going to keep this up. So if we're going to be trading guys left and right, we're going to really try to build this team up for the future. I think Reed Garrett might be the best piece to trade this year. I would even think about trading him before the deadline because at some point, this is going to end for Reed Garrett. It's going to. The question is when. All right, but I'm going to take a quick break here, and then I'm going to hop into the Yankees because the Yankees are on a insane winning streak right now, 7-game winning streak, and Anthony Volpe on a 12-game hitting streak. So we're going to get into that next. All right, let's get right back into this real quick. The New York Yankees, and then we'll wrap it up. The Yankees are on a 7-game winning streak. They got another game tonight. Their pitching has been dominant. Their offense has been dominant, and a lot of that has been thanks because of 3 guys, actually. I would say 1 guy, Aaron Judge, who in his last 25 games is hitting .357 with 10 home runs and a 1.307 OPS. But it's also Juan Soto, and then it's also Anthony Volpe on a 12-game hitting streak, hitting .317 across those 12 games with 17 hits total. But yeah, and then you got to think about the pitching too, because Louis Gill, he's doing really good right now. Rodon, another guy who's stepping it up with Garrett Cole out. Finally, that's what I've been wanting to see out of him. That's what a lot of Yankees fans have been wanting to see out of Carlos Rodon, because he was given that contract, that $160 million contract, not to be a number 3 or a number 4 or not even a number 2. He was brought here to be a 1B right behind Garrett Cole. And with Cole out, they need a guy to step up. And right now, that's Rodon and also Gill. And we're going to be getting into that too. And then Clay Holmes. You got to give him credit, man. 20 innings, 13 saves, 0 ERA. Yankees, they're really looking like World Series favorites in the American League right now. Beating up on teams like the Astros, who they might see, even though the Astros are struggling. They're probably going to turn things around very soon. I mean, they're the Houston Astros, so who knows? But Yankees, 33-15, got a very good cushion in the AL East right now, as long as they keep up what they've been doing. And then Carlos Rodon, I just want to put that out there before we get into the offense, man. Rodon has been pitching great. He's only got 1 start this season when he's allowed more than 3 runs. Only 1 start. So the fact that he has a 3.27 ERA with that 6 runs allowed start, I believe it was against Baltimore, it just goes to show you how well he's been pitching all year. 5-2, 3.27 ERA. As long as he keeps it up, he's going to be in the conversation as an all-star pitcher this year for the American League squad. And he's going to be right alongside Garrett Cole once he comes back as a 1 and 1B for the New York Yankees. So shout out to Carlos Rodon, man. He's doing a great job this year. As long as he keeps it up, Yankees will be just fine. They'll be just fine. So yeah, let's talk about the offense. And then I got to put it up real quick too for Louis Gill. 2.39 ERA, 5-1, 25-year-old pitcher. He's pitching like a stud. And then Clay Holmes too. Best bullpen in the league right now the Yankees have. And Clay Holmes is a big proponent of that bullpen. So you got to give him his flowers as well. But before we get into anything offensive, any of the other offensive players, the guy who started off the season struggling, Aaron Judge, man. Altogether, he's got a 266 batting average, 980 OPS, and 13 home runs. And this is a struggling start for him. That's a struggling start for him. So now that he's turning things around, he's got a good stretch of games under his belt that's like, okay, yeah, he's the best hitter in baseball. There's nobody better than Aaron Judge. Here it is. Last 25 games, 357 batting average, 10 home runs, 1.37 OPS. This guy, when healthy, when he's at his best, there's no one better. Aaron Judge, quite simply, is the best hitter in MLB. Better than Ohtani, better than Freddie Freeman, better than Acuna, better than Juan Soto. Aaron Judge is the best hitter in baseball. He hit over 300. He hit 62 home runs in 2022. Over 1,000 OPS. That's who he is. This is Aaron Judge. He's back, and everybody else should be worried because when he's back like this, and now the Yankees have Juan Soto, who's hitting 311, 963 OPS, 11 home runs, 37 RBIs this season. And then you got Anthony Volpe, 270 batting average, 23 RBIs, 29 runs scored, 770 OPS out of the leadoff spot on a 12-game hitting streak. When you got those 3 guys, and then you got to factor in too that Giancarlo Stanton ain't having that too bad of a season either. In fact, he's having a really good season. 11 home runs, 252 batting average, 817 OPS, 26 RBIs going into tonight. So the Yankees have one of the best, if not the best lineup in baseball right now. They have one of the best starting rotations in baseball, and they have the best bullpen in baseball, and arguably the best closer with Clay Holmes in baseball. The Yankees are early World Series favorites, in my opinion. I've been saying it all year. I said it all offseason after they got Juan Soto. I said if Anthony Volpe steps it up, if he has a second-year turnaround, the Yankees are going to be a team to watch out for. And now, right now, they don't even have Garrett Cole. So they're missing the reigning Cy Young Award winner. So imagine what happens when he gets back. The Yankees are a scary team. Nobody should want to play the Yankees. They're on a 7-game winning streak right now. They got 3 All-Stars in their lineup with Volpe, Judge, and Soto. Rodon is finally looking like that pitcher that the Yankees fans thought they were getting when they signed him to that major contract. You got Louis Gill coming out of nowhere looking like a stud. Clay Holmes looking like a beast. Best closer in baseball right now. The Yankees are firing on all cylinders. They look like the best team in baseball. And I believe they are the best team in baseball. And that's coming from a Met fan. So, yeah, Yankees, watch out for them. I still think they will win the World Series. And I'm very happy that I picked them to win the World Series this year. Because they're going to win it. They're going to win it. They're going to make me look smart. So, let's see what they do tonight. We got the Mets playing and the Yankees playing tonight. I would love to say the Knicks were playing tonight, but they're not. They're done. We're sad. Sad household over here. All right, but the Rangers are still in it. They got game 1 on Wednesday night against the Panthers. Like I said before, in regards to the Rangers, I think the Rangers can do it. But then again, they're the New York Rangers. And I just cannot see a New York sports team getting the job done. It hasn't been done in over a decade. The last team to do it in New York was the New York Giants in 2012. Before that was the Yankees in 2009 and the Giants in 2008. It's just, I saw the Mets lose in 2015. I saw the Knicks, obviously, yesterday. It's tough. It's a tough life. That's what I will say. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Yuki. Thank you, CPNY, for commenting on the pod today. I appreciate you guys for joining and giving your takes. And for those watching on X, or those who are watching on YouTube, wherever you are, just go over to YouTube and hit subscribe. I'm 1 subscriber away from 300, so thank you guys. All right, deuces, guys. I love you all.